Welcome back to Circuit Sphere. I hope you all had a great Christmas and New Year's, and I'm really excited for what 2025 is going to bring to the channel. Today, we're traveling back to 1997 to take a closer look at the PowerBook 3400c, a laptop that Apple claimed was the fastest portable computer in the world at the time. And honestly, they weren't kidding. This machine wasn't just about speed. It was Apple's answer to fierce competition in the mid-90s, packed with features like a powerful 200 megahertz processor, hot-swappable drives, and a gorgeous active matrix display. It even set the stage for one of Apple's most iconic laptops, the PowerBook G3. Today, we're going to explore why the 3400C was such a game changer, from its innovative design and professional appeal to some upgrades I've done myself. We'll see just how well this retro machine holds up. And don't worry, I've got some retro gaming and benchmarks in store too. Let's dive in. In February 1997, Apple introduced the PowerBook 3400C, a laptop that would go down in history as the fastest portable computer of its time. It was a bold statement from Apple, a company navigating a challenging period in history. But this machine wasn't just about speed. It marked a turning point in Apple's approach to mobile computing, combining innovative architecture with robust design to cater to the needs of professionals and creatives alike. The mid-1990s were a turbulent era for Apple. Financial difficulties, coupled with increasing competition from Windows-based laptops, left the company in dire need of a hit. Apple's PowerBook series, first launched in 1991, had established itself as a leader in portable computing, but by 1997 it was clear that the line needed an upgrade to keep up with the advances in technology. The PowerBook 3400C was Apple's answer to this challenge. Released as a successor to the PowerBook 5300 series, it was designed not only to address the shortcomings of its predecessor, but to push the envelope of performance and usability. For Apple, it was a strategic move to regain its footing in the professional market, especially among business users, graphic designers, and other demanding users who needed reliable, high-performance laptops. The PowerBook 3400C wasn't just another laptop. It was a technological leap forward. Powered by a 200 megahertz PowerPC 603E processor, it delivered performance that rivaled many desktop systems of the era. Its PCI-based architecture, a first for the PowerBook line, allowed for faster data transfer and expanded capabilities, setting a new standard for laptop performance. Apple also equipped the 3400C with advanced multimedia features, including 16-bit stereo sound and a vibrant active matrix color LCD display, capable of resolutions up to 800 by 600. These features made it ideal not just for spreadsheets and presentations, but also for creative work like photo editing and video playback, areas where Apple was already gaining a loyal following. Connectivity was another major selling point. The PowerBook 3400C offered two Type 2 or one Type 3 PCMCIA slots, making it highly expandable for the time. This flexibility allowed users to add peripherals like modems, network cards, or additional storage, essential features for business professionals who needed their laptops to adapt to various workflows. Apple targeted the PowerBook 3400C squarely at professionals who demanded performance and reliability. Its robust build quality and elegant design made it a favorite among business users, while its ability to handle complex tasks like multimedia editing ensured its popularity among creatives. With its high-speed processor, large storage options up to 3 gigabytes, and upgradable RAM expandable to 144 megabytes, it quickly became a top choice for users who needed a machine that could keep up with their demanding workloads. Although its production run lasted less than a year, the PowerBook 3400c left a lasting legacy. It served as the foundation for the iconic PowerBook G3 series, which Apple released later in 1997. The G3 would go on to cement Apple's dominance in the professional laptop market. But it was the 3400c that introduced many of the innovations that made this possible. The 3400c also played a critical role in restoring Apple's reputation for quality and innovation during a time when many questioned the company's future. By delivering cutting-edge performance and features in a sleek, portable package, it proved that Apple was still capable of producing world-class products. Today, the PowerBook 3400c is a sought-after collector's item among vintage tech enthusiasts. It represents a pivotal moment in Apple's history, a time when the company's resilience and commitment to innovation began to shine through, setting the stage for its eventual resurgence in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Now that we've explored the history of the PowerBook 3400c, let's take a closer look at the technical specifications that made it a standout product of its era. I want to start by showcasing the amazing example of the PowerBook 3400c that I have, starting with this Apple carrying case, which was designed specifically for the PowerBook 3400c. Opening it up, we're greeted with the PowerBook itself. This particular model is the 200 MHz PowerPC 603E, the middle option of the three 3400c configurations, featuring a 2 GB hard drive and 32 MB of memory. Also included in this set is an HP DeskJet 340 portable printer, complete with its original power adapter. Additionally, there's a Supra Express 144 Plus fax modem. I even received the original Apple power adapter with this PowerBook. To top it all off, I managed to pick up some extremely expired ink for the HP printer. More on that disaster later in the video. When I first received this PowerBook 3400c, initial testing revealed that the floppy drive was no longer working. In addition to the planned upgrades, I'll also be replacing the floppy drive for one I ordered off eBay. For storage, I'll be installing a 32 GB compact flash drive. Originally, I considered using 120 GB M.2 SSD, but during the project, I decided the compact flash drive would be a better fit. I was also able to track down a new old stock original Apple battery for the PowerBook 3400c, which I'll pair with this computer. To begin the teardown, I'll be using my trusty iFixit toolkit. It's my go-to for all tech repairs. I'll leave a link in the description below if you're interested in picking one up. The first step is to remove the faulty floppy drive by sliding the release latch on the back of the laptop and gently sliding the drive out. Next, I remove 3 screws located on the back of the laptop. Then I remove the battery from the right side of the device. With the preliminary steps done, I carefully lift the keyboard, being mindful of the ribbon cable underneath that connects it to the logic board. Once the keyboard is up, I gently remove the RAM card. Afterward, I carefully disconnect the keyboard's ribbon cable from the logic board, allowing me to set this keyboard aside. Following this, I detach the bar that houses the speakers, volume controls, and display brightness controls. This involves removing a small ribbon cable on the left side and unscrewing the fastener holding the bar in place. As I lift the bar, I disconnect the PRAM battery, freeing the speaker bar from the system. Next, I remove the left and right plastic brackets by laying the display flat and gently wiggling them out. After that, I remove the palm rest and trackpad, which gives me access to the hard drive enclosure. There are 3 screws near the front of the enclosure that I remove, allowing me to lift it carefully. Beneath the enclosure is a ribbon cable connecting the hard drive to the logic board. After gently detaching the cable, the hard drive is free. I then remove the 4 screws securing the hard drive to its enclosure. Now it's time to install the 32GB compact flash drive. To secure it in place, I use double-sided tape to adhere the drive to the top of the enclosure. With that done, I start reassembling the computer. As I reassemble, I take the opportunity to thoroughly clean each component using Windex. The keyboard was especially dirty, so I used Q-tips along with a microfiber cloth to remove years of built-up grime. Once everything is put back together and the compact flash drive is installed, I'll perform a comparison startup to see how much faster the new drive boots into the operating system compared to the original hard drive. Now, let's compare startup times to see how much faster the new SSD is at booting into Mac OS 9 compared to the old mechanical hard drive. With the SSD, it took just 1 minute and 25 seconds to fully boot into Mac OS 9. Now in contrast, the old hard disk drive completed the boot process in 1 minute and 52 seconds. That means the new SSD booted Mac OS 9 27 seconds faster, which translates to a speed improvement of a little over 32% compared to the old hard disk drive. Now let's have some fun with the HP printer. Before filming this episode, I went on eBay and ordered a pack of 3 original HP ink cartridges for this DeskJet 340. The catch? They expired all the way back in 2003. To get this printer working on a Mac, a special HP adapter is required. After plugging in the power, I opened the brand new HP Mac adapter, I also sourced from eBay. Inside the box was the adapter itself, along with the Mac drivers stored on 2 floppy disks. After installing the drivers, I opened the first package of ink. Right away, things didn't look promising. There was a gob of dried black ink on the cartridge, which I tried to clean off with a microfiber rag. After cleaning, I installed the ink cartridge into the printer. Then, I connected the Mac adapter to the printer and plugged it into the computer. To test everything, I installed Microsoft Office 2001 for Mac and launched Word. I typed a quick note, loaded some paper into the printer, and hit the printer button. And nothing. Not a single thing. Nothing printed on the paper. Thus began what I now call the Great Ink Hunt of 2024. I tried each of the 3 cartridges I purchased from eBay, but all of them were beyond saving. Paper after paper, and still nothing would print. Determined to make this work, I returned to the web and sourced more ink from Amazon and a dedicated ink website. The cartridges from Amazon turned out to be just as dried up and unusable as the ones from eBay. The only success I had was with a color cartridge from the ink website. If I dampened the print head with water, it would print 1 sheet of paper, but then it would stop working again. The silver lining is that I confirmed the printer itself is functional. It's a pretty cool little machine. I just need to actually find some ink that actually works. I want to try out some gaming on this retro machine, so I decided to load up Diablo, Astro Chase 3D, and Star Wars Rebel Assault. I recently got my hands on a Gravis Mac Mouse Stick 2, which I've been eager to test out, so I'll be using the mouse stick for Astro Chase 3D and Star Wars Rebel Assault. Starting with Diablo, I have a confession. I've never actually played through this iconic game. Over the years, I've spent countless hours enjoying StarCraft and StarCraft 2, two of Blizzard's other masterpieces. One of these days, I really need to sit down and play through Diablo properly. For now, I just jumped straight into the catacombs to slay some monsters. I'm glad that I can unfoul the sanctity of this place. After a brief attempt and an untimely death, I decided to move on to the next game. Before diving into Astro Chase 3D, I needed to set up the Gravis Mouse Stick 2. I have to say, this joystick feels incredibly well built, noticeably sturdier than many other joysticks I've used from this era. The setup process was simple. Install the drivers, restart the computer, and plug in the joystick. Both Astro Chase 3D and Star Wars Rebel Assault have pre-configured settings in the Gravis software. So all I had to do was select the corresponding profile for each game. With everything ready, I jumped into Astro Chase 3D. This game has quickly become one of my favorite retro titles. It's just so much fun to play. For those unfamiliar, Astro Chase 3D is a first-person space shooter where you pilot the Ultra ship to defend Earth from alien mega mines across 40 levels. Using a radar for guidance, you destroy mines, evade enemy fire, and utilize space stations to recharge energy, shields, and collect power-ups. The game features 4 weapons and various control schemes, and completing levels unlocks checkpoints for easier progression. The mouse stick 2 adds a level of precision and immersion that simply isn't possible with a traditional mouse and keyboard.
Sector cleared.
I played through several levels, destroying enemy ships and intercepting the relentless megamines aimed at Earth. Finally, I tackled Star Wars Rebel Assault. After numerous attempts using the mouse, the Gravis mouse stick, and another joystick, I have come to the unfortunate conclusion this game just isn't very good. I struggled repeatedly just to get past the flight training level. I never made it out. No matter how many tweaks I made to the controls and settings, the ship's handling never felt right, and I couldn't manage to keep it level. After so many frustrating attempts, I've decided it's best to permanently shelf this game. Let me know in the comments if you've had similar experiences with Star Wars Rebel Assault, or if you think I'm just missing something. I'd love to hear any tips or advice you may have. Now let's dive into the before and after benchmark analysis. On this computer, I ran MacBench 5 and RaveBench, both before the upgrades and again after the upgrades. Looking at the MacBench 5 results, the most significant improvement came from the disk score. After replacing the hard drive with an SSD, the score increased by over 107%, jumping from 438 to 909. The Rafebench scores are typical for a Mac of this age. However, the triangles and mesh scores actually surpass those of a previously tested PowerMac G3 233 all-in-one. This emphasizes that back in 1997, the PowerBook 3400c wasn't just a portable solution, it was powerful enough to replace a desktop. Now, let's break down the SphereScore for the Apple PowerBook 3400c. This rating system evaluates vintage and modern devices based on 5 key categories: build quality, aesthetic design, expandability, historical significance, and legacy or collector value. First up, build quality. The PowerBook 3400c scores a 2 out of 5 here. While it was solid for its time, the plastic construction just hasn't aged well. Over the years, the material has become brittle and it's prone to breaking, which impacts its durability and usability today. Next, let's talk aesthetic and design. The 3400c scores a 3 out of 5. Its design is professional and functional, but it lacks the sleekness and innovation of later PowerBooks. Plus, its bulkiness, though typical for the time, makes it less appealing by modern standards. For expandability, it earns a 3 out of 5. Features like hot-swappable CD-ROM and floppy drives, along with dual PCM CIA slots and expandable RAM, were excellent for the era. However, the overall upgrade potential is limited compared to modern laptops. Moving on to historical significance. This is where the PowerBook 3400c truly shines, scoring a perfect 5 out of 5. When it was released, it was the most powerful laptop on the market. It introduced PCI architecture and hot-swappable drives, paving the way for the iconic PowerBook G3 series. Finally, let's look at the legacy and collector value. The 3400c scores a 3 out of 5 here. While it's an important transitional model in Apple's history, it's overshadowed by the PowerBook G3, which is more highly regarded amongst collectors. So the final SphereScore for the PowerBook 3400c is 16 out of 25. It's a solid vintage laptop with groundbreaking features for its time, but it does have some shortcomings when viewed through today's lens. Well, there you have it, the PowerBook 3400c. From its groundbreaking release in 1997 to the upgrades and tests we've done today, this laptop truly represents a unique chapter in Apple's history. It's easy to see why this machine was such a big deal back then. Apple took a bold leap forward in performance, design, and usability during a time when the company was fighting to stay relevant. Looking at it today, the 3400c is still impressive in many ways. Sure, the plastic build hasn't aged perfectly, and finding working accessories like ink cartridges or replacement parts can be a challenge. But the innovation this laptop brought to the table is undeniable. It paved the way for future icons like the PowerBook G3 and proved that Apple could still compete in the professional market during a tough era. For collectors and retro enthusiasts, the PowerBook 3400c is a must-have. Whether you're gaming, upgrading, or just admiring its design, it's a machine that continues to spark nostalgia and appreciation for how far we've come in portable computing. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did you own a PowerBook 3400c or any of the early PowerBooks? What was your experience like? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the PowerBook 3400c, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Circuit Sphere, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next retro tech adventure. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.